7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, we're going to have, our favorite local Indiana, Southern Indiana business, my favorite shop. You guys know I love me some American legacy fishing from the first time I actually walked in to the shop and was happy to be able to support a business that's based here in Southern Indiana, which actually makes it awesome because that means they got super fast shipping all around the area. And it's really cool because not often you run into companies like this where it's a small business, but locally run, operated, and man, you just get the best customer service, people who know their stuff. And I mean, from the VPs down to everybody who works in the shop, it's amazing to have such cool folks that can answer all your questions because they're all anglers. It's not somebody working for minimum wage sitting in a Bass Pro shops may or may not know what they're doing, but you actually get people who know what they're doing and support the local business and economy, but also offer you guys the best deals and prices, shipping, and warranties that there is. But I'm going to take a quick minute to give a quick shout out to everybody. First, I am a little bit under the weather. Let me do a quick recap between this week and last because everybody knows I'm in a weight loss competition with Mr. Chad Hoover. We both made it through Christmas. I'll put it that way. Earlier this morning, he was up a couple of pounds, and now he was down a couple of pounds right before I came live. So technically, he's still maintained. I actually gained a pound, and I am not going to cry about it a bit because I spent the weekend Thursday through Monday with my daughter down in Tampa. We had a great time, a great visit. Got to meet two Fishing Fam Dam members. We had Mr. John Long, drove an hour and a half to come down and hang out. We met up at the Bass Pro shops, got to know each other, got to talk, grabbed a couple of rods, and went out back and fished for about a little more than an hour, maybe hour and a half. As the sun was going down, it was getting cold, the wind was blowing, but we didn't care. We was sitting there getting to knowing each other, having a good time, just doing some fishing. And I love the fact that we've got fishing fam all over the country. So, hey, wherever I can get out and get out too, I can meet new folks, spend some time with them, and really, really enjoy it. And then the next day, I got to meet one of our most popular folks here in the chat, in all the chats. Liz was awesome. We were going to go fishing, and it got even colder than it was the day before. I didn't even take a jacket down there. I was expecting it to be cool. It got a little cold, but hey, we went, hung out, spent a couple hours in a coffee shop, just shooting the breeze, talking about fishing, how we both got started in it. And I tell you what, it was awesome. Look forward to the day I can go back and share some water with her, get our kayaks in there. We're talking about alligators, water moccasins, her time in the Navy, and just all kinds of good stuff. And I tell you what, I had a blast. Obviously, I wished I would have gone to Florida for my first trip, to get down there and have a little bit better weather. But honestly, it could not have gone better because I got to meet some folks. I got to catch a Florida bass. Of course, it was a dink. I don't care. Caught it on a Ned rig of all things. I never throw a Ned rig. Ned rig said was one thing I said I was going to work on in 2023. Hey, you know what? Caught a fish. I'm happy. And it was awesome. I was using the good old Z-Man Ned rig kit. And, but I mean, tell you what, had a great time hanging out with my daughter. My daughter needed some mom time, so they kicked me out, made me go fishing. I actually went out again on Christmas Day, chasing down some of the canals, trying to catch a big fish. And I was leery of the gators. They're freezing my butt off in a t-shirt. But, I know the weather's warmed back up now that I have left the state. I'm sure the bite will pick up and everything will be glorious. I think it was actually almost 50 here today, but who knows? Who cares? That's just the way it goes. I'm glad that I got to go. And I tell you what, I can't wait to go back down there and visit again and get a hook up with Liz and other folks. I was trying to get up with Steve Chapman, Mr. Get Your Fish On. He had stuff going on with his son. And I know, Liz, you told me not to worry about the gators. I actually went down to one of the canals and I sat on a rock like, right next to the water. And then I looked down in the water and I said, if there's a gator there, he could swim right up on me. So I backed up but I mean, I gave it a try for a bit. But let me back up. Let's get through this because Lord knows how long I'm going to last. I'm still getting over the cold that I gave myself being out like a dummy trying to catch a big fish, but I couldn't go to Florida and not try every chance I got. So let's roll back through the chat real quick, say hi to everybody. Then we'll bring our special guest in tonight. Everybody knows I love having Graham on. I see my old fishing partner, Mike Brock, in the house. I'm sure he's probably still down south in Georgia waiting for it to heat up so he can go get on some big fish, but he'll be back up in Indiana when it warms up a bit. Mr. Ralph, Army Outdoors, soon to be Master Sergeant. Oh, I love seeing that when good people I know, earn their way up through the ranks and get those big promotions. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the military, Master Sergeant is a hell of an accomplishment. They don't just give that one away. I mean, you got to work, and he worked for the last couple I know. But Master Sergeant, that's really getting somewhere. So congrats, Ralph. Really can't wait to see that happen. That is going to be awesome. See, we got Tom in the house. There's Liz, Josh, Adam down in Florida, Dan Mulder, Brown Baitco, who we all know, Brendan, Mr. Fish in the Southeast. Glad to see you up and recovering. I know you had your birthday, and you've been fighting that that stomach bug that's been going around. Our good friend up in Indy, Mr. Samet Searcher, can't wait to get on the water, chasing them smallies with Bobby. Good friend Sly Fox Fishing in the house. For those of you who didn't know, I'm going to be meeting up with him because I got a kayak hanging out here on the wall for him. Get him off the banks and onto some bigger fish so he can get out there and do some more Catch 22 in 2023. We got Tom in the house. We got cool Granddaddy Sweets forever. Love seeing our other Army guy in here. Scott's in the house. Who we got? JL Walls in the house. Jason's in the house. Adam Odin, saw him earlier. Mr. Fishing with Cotton, glad to see you in here, brother. Keep scrolling through. There's Ralph. Got Grandpa Woody Fishing. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you in here. Got Matt Orloff. The other John. Michael Bradley. Yeah, we got a lot of people in the house tonight here on a Wednesday. Well, Mike says he's fishing. He's getting ready. Stripping line and light, cleaning reels mid-January. Yep, he's getting ready for them. Get ready to chase. There's my brother Jeremy in the house. Oh, Mike says he's back in India already this year. So, yeah, you came right back in time to get cold, I'm sure. I saw Mr. Benedetto. We got Zach in the house. All right, I think I am caught up. So enough of that. That's enough of me yapping. It's time we bring our good friend, our partner to the show. When I say, welcome to Fishing with Gramps, presented by American Legacy Fishing, it's Graham who made all that possible. Oh, I see Mr. John Gunner Outdoors, Fishing Mitch in the house. We got Mitch, another one of our American Legacy YouTubing dudes. Let's go ahead and just bring Graham in the house. What is up, Graham? How are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. I've got to echo what you said about alligators. These guys are terrifying. It's like the one animal that trips me out more than any.
It's like Liz was saying. She says they're not really the ones to worry about. It's the water moccasins that are super aggressive, that chase people down. And like, but I guess if there's anything
in the teeth.
Yeah, I was like, I'd be swinging oars and shooting. Yeah, I can't even talk about. Yeah, of course I didn't mute my phone, and obviously my youngest doesn't know that I'm live tonight. So let me go ahead and mute and pause all of that. But man, I'm glad to have you on. We were talking a little bit earlier about what all we wanted to talk about tonight, but I wanted to start by talking about everything you kind of accomplished in 2022, because there was a lot of stuff that went on with American Legacy Fishing and Outdoors, and all kinds of goodies and stuff for our, for the faithful customers and fans of American Legacy Fishing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that it's difficult to just pick one, but the one thing that does stick out is in April, we launched the Legacy Elite program to kind of hold our own in that space, the subscription-based premium customer model, if you will. And it was pretty much a total success in my books. I mean, there are like hitches here and there, obviously, that we're still working out, but to have an idea and be able to like just put it out there, even though, like I said, maybe it wasn't entirely ready. We just had that date that we wanted to roll it out. To have it from idea to planning to building out every little benefit, which we can go over if you or anybody in the chat has any questions about, and then actually launching it on the site and then seeing it grow to now where I'll keep the number of subscribers secret, but we did just hit a milestone that we had pinned for the end of the year. So that's, I don't know, it's just a cool feeling. I feel like it's easy to get beat down,
That's pretty
especially this time of
amazing. And
year.
for those who don't know, I mean, not only do you get access to another Facebook group where all of the, Legacy Elite members talk and in discounts too, but talk a little bit about some of the benefits of being a Legacy Elite member.
Yeah, so the biggest one, at least, whenever we've ran some polls to see what people like the most, it's definitely the 10% back on every order in the form of reward points. So if you spend $100 on a pile of baits on that order, you will get $10 back in rewards points that you can use on a future order. So you can imagine, buying some of the rods we carry, especially, or we're seeing a lot of people. Sorry if there's some crazy noise. My cat's smoked a little something, I think. The thing we're seeing is people, and what we're encouraging people to do is to sign up if they plan on making a big electronics purchase or toy motor purchase, because that's right off the bat you think like what's a force, like $2,500, that's $250 kickback that you can pick up a brand new whatever Corona.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you guys have seen people take advantage of that when they're updating, because they could be turning around, for example, buying, a couple of NRX rods, and then they just financed whatever reel they might want to put on it, in the kickback to it too. But you guys are run and because it's being part of it too. But you guys run special sales. I've seen people go through and get, like on the Mega Bass ordering list. I mean, there's some. There was Liz was asking, what's the annual cost to become a Legacy member?
It's $50, and right now we're running a promo. Normally, you get a sign up bonus of $25, but we are literally kicking back the entire fee of the subscription right now. So if you sign up, you pay the $50, and you'll get $50 back in rewards points. So it's basically like converting
Just that
your
fast,
money
and that's
into
what,
rewards
free shipping
points.
for the year as well.
Yeah, free basic ground shipping on all orders. Any order over $100 is going to ship for free with second day air, which has been killer, especially during tournament season, guys. Maybe even just need a pack or two of baits, being able to get them there as quick as possible. And then depending on where you're at in the product, it's a heavily discounted overnight is like $25 is pretty much the running rate with that.
Yeah, so there's Brian in the chat. So yeah, he's already on it too. So I mean, that's one of the things. It's like you don't see this out of a lot of other places, but like you said, you guys are not going to be beat, and it's good for anglers around the country that there are so many different places where the competition, it benefits the angler. I mean, no matter where you shop or what you're looking for, the more of these upper tier, if you will, um, these upper tier companies like American Legacy Fishing, you know being able to get the 10% back plus the free shipping, you're basically getting your money back as soon as you do anything. And it's nuts. But it's also the fact that you guys have a lot of the rods, the reels, and the majority of the baits that people are looking for in the first place. So, why not? It makes it good because it gives the angler, especially those who want to trade in stuff that they've had, or they don't want to, I've had this a little bit and it's time to, maybe I want to try something new or different. Or, even the fact that they might have bought something and it's like, that really wasn't what I was looking for. I want to try something else. And that makes it, it makes it interesting for people uh, looking for stuff and they want to try it out. I mean, so that's one of the great features of it too. But I saw we had hella bass in the house, and gotta
Oh,
love Rich
Rich.
being in here because his interview with you is how I actually found American Legacy the first time. You guys were chit chatting, talking about Dobbins rods and other stuff in there, and I was like, wait, there's a shop here in Southern Indiana, and I was down there probably the next
Yeah, it
week.
wasn't
But
very
yeah, Bobby
long-winded.
actually makes a really good point. He's a friend of mine, and he actually went down shopping at American Legacy a few weeks ago, and yeah, I can't believe I didn't even tell him about the Legacy Elite program because I'm a terrible YouTuber and influencer. I told him where to go, but I'm like, oh wait, because he got into fishing a few years ago, but he quickly learned that he likes the good stuff. He's big into mega bass and he's been coveting that Stratic CI4 that I bought used. Jeremy's got it now, but Bobby was eyeballing that thing. Is like, if you ever want to sell it, I can use another one of these in my collection. And I can't blame him because he quickly learned what he likes, and he's after his first visit down to American Legacy, yeah, I think he'll be a pretty long standing customer as well.
Yeah, and that's something we've also done, and it was kind of like an unspoken thing, but over the past like probably 4 months, we've tried to make it a point that if you were to place an order and then sign up for Legacy Elite, you won't automatically get credit for that, but we're more than happy to like retroactively go back and pull the points you would have earned from that order. And I've even gone as far in some cases as refunding whatever shipping they paid on that order. So if you are interested in it and you're like talking yourself out of it because you just placed an order and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna place another one anytime soon, just like reach out.
Yeah, so he's saying he's waiting for a P5 to arrive at the door. So that might be a good time to go sign up for that
Yeah,
Legacy Elite program tonight. While it's the offer's still on the table. And then, like Ruben said, what we a lot of us have noticed this over time too. All the rods that we get, new or used, have all been shipped out and received in perfect condition and fast. I mean, and you guys have a great track record, and we know that you obviously don't control FedEx or because there was the one we laughed about it when you sent me sent me one rod, and somehow it ended up in Texas, and then
hmm
finally made its way over around here. But sometimes the shipping guys mess it up, but you guys had it out the next day, and for the most part, anything that I order, it's here waiting for me by the time I get home from work the next day. So it's just
Yeah,
it's amazing how
it's
much how fast you guys really get stuff out the door. And I take anybody I take through there for a tour, I show them your shipping area because that's where a lot of the magic happens. And I mean, those guys that working in there, I mean, they're cranking. I mean, they get the stuff quality tubes out the door fast, and it's just amazing. And then, like I tell a lot of people too, if you're not in it for if you want to buy a little higher end stuff than you're used to, and you don't want to fork out the money for new, the stuff that comes in the trades is just insane. How some people, I'm guilty of it. I'll get something to play with it a bit, and then it'll be up in the used section. I saw somebody comment earlier today about a Dobbins skipping rod that they picked up, and I'm like, I wonder who had that 3 months ago.
yeah,
But I
I
mean, I trade stuff back in all the time because I like playing with all kinds of different stuff, just because it helps me, kind of get to know all of the different gear a little better. So sure, last year was a lot of Lew's, a lot of Dobbins. Played with a lot of the new Lew's Signature Series stuff. Traded all that in, and now I'm playing with some of the people have seen the Loomis, and I've got a mix of everything back over here is like the Shimano stuff that they came out with pretty much this year, either Zodius or X Pride B, because it's not something I've played with, and that's something I want to get more familiar with because American Legacy is the G Loomis Superstore, and I got to play with all the different stuffs. Let's see who I'm sitting here reading through the. Everybody's talking about, yeah, and 100% agree. Always great service. Out the door, awesome used gear. Yeah, and I tell you what, it's funny because if you go back on their channel, you'll see how they kind of prepare and clean everything, and it's actually good lessons for you guys on how to care, um, especially if you're, if you got cork and you didn't seal it. They show you, they've done some videos on how they clean the handles and basically make new. And I get it too, but I actually learned something and made a similar video just because, oh shoot, I got cork rods and I want to take care of them a little better so they last longer. And um, you know, I saw Michael Bradley. What percentage do you normally get on trade-ins? Realistically, it just depends. You put in a quote to the store, and they'll look at the condition of the gear and stuff like that too, and then they'll make you an offer. Um, and a lot of times, people people are like, okay, I got more for stuff. I was actually talking with Sam at Searcher because he had some stuff he was going to give away. I was like, bro, you might think it's not worth anything, but it probably is. And I think he was actually pleasantly surprised because I knew he came away with some pretty good stuff after going down and visiting the shop when he was doing some trading.
Yeah, the that definitely varies. I mean, pretty much exactly what you said. The biggest thing that I will say is, like, regardless of the percentage, which we try and be as fair as possible. We like to think that we have a better pulse on the resale market than anybody because it's, where we where we lay our heads at night, if you will. We like to paint our trade-in program as a service, which is what it is. It's taking the load off of you selling it as an individual. For anybody that's ever had to pay for a rod to be shipped as an individual knows what I'm talking about. It's not uncommon, regardless of what service you're using as an individual, to get shipping charges over $70 as a starting point, sometimes $140. Um, it's I'm sure it's frustrating as an individual to, like, get a new rod and then, like, I always likened it whenever I first started to, like, GameStop. Whenever you, like, I don't know how familiar you if it, or anybody is with,
Yep.
like, trading a game with GameStop. It's like, oh, I got this $60 game. Yeah, here's $5. We're not that egregious, but I mean, we do have to make money. So, like, you're going to
Yep.
see prices vary depending on what you're trading in, and if you were to sell those same products individually, not only do you have to shoulder that shipping charge, but now I'm not sure how many people are aware, but any or it may even be taking effect in 2023, if not already, with PayPal. If you sell over $600 in goods, you have to report that on your taxes.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm not good at math, but it doesn't take a genius to know that's going to be taxed pretty heavily on top of your shipping charges. So I mean, you're having your rod taken care of by us. We'll give you a label. You ship it in. We give you credit as soon as we get it in. And then, I mean, if you've shopped with us, you know that we're going to give you a pretty good deal on whatever it is you're looking for. So it's to people that do it, it's something that, like, the old adage that 20% of your business or 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. Probably like 80% of our trades come from 20% of our customers, and that's because they recognize of how convenient the service is. So they just,
Yep.
rather than pushing all of their gear out themselves, they acknowledge that, and it becomes almost an obsession for some people. What's up, Devo? You missed
Speaking of one of your
alligators
favorite
and
customers. Yeah, I mean, I get it too because a lot of people don't. It's tough because, yeah, sure, you'd be like, oh, I could sell it and do this and that. Facebook Marketplace, 100%. Sometimes you don't want that hassle. And like you said, when the first, especially YouTubers know this, because we like to do giveaways and whatnot. You ain't gonna find somebody giving away a rod anymore. I did that. I did that mistakenly once, and it was like, oh boy, it costs some money to ship a rod from point A to point B. And if you're not
it's
one of the and if you're not somebody who's working, where you're shipping constantly and a lot, you don't get any kind of a break. And like you said, you're eating up, any profit that you made. So sometimes it's it's easier, especially, you'll see it a lot of times with tournament anglers, I'm sure, where, they want to go through and, okay, I fished with all these the last couple of years. I want to go ahead and trade them in and get, move up a level and, get some higher end stuff. And, it just it cuts them out from having to deal with the hassle of shipping, multiple rods in multiple places when you can kind of just, you know, American Legacy will shipping will cover the cost to get it, to get them there, and then you turn around and then you get a good deal on the back end of the stuff that you're wanting to buy. Plus, like you said, having your points saved up from being a customer, in the past, it actually makes a lot of difference. So Mike, my old buddy right here, is doing exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm literally sitting here with an SLX XT and the MGL 150 that you're wanting to trade them in for. So if you go to AmericanLegacyFishing.com, go on
If
their
you want, I
website.
can
They
just
have
share my screen. I
Hey,
think I
yeah,
can share
let's
my
do that.
screen in here.
We'll take it from the man himself. So I'm using new software, so give me a second so that I can. How do I give you?
Find out out here.
Yeah, because then again,
it's not gonna let me, since I have to like give it permission. Let me. Yeah, it's not gonna let me without closing out, but I can explain
okay.
it. I could have already explained it 3 times. If you're on the front page or any page of our website, you go to the top right-hand corner above the search bar. There's a little tab that says trade-ins. You just click that, and then it's going to pull up some information spelling out how our trade program works. You just click on get a quote, and it will prompt you to fill out a spreadsheet where you can put in all of your gear and the condition, the quantities. And once you press submit, that gets sent over to our sales email. And typically within 24 to 48 hours, you'll hear back from us with a quote. We're working on streamlining that process to make it near instant, because to me, that's like the biggest deficiency from a customer's standpoint. I would be a lot less likely to trade in if I have to wait for that quote to come in than if I could just get the prices immediately. But for some of you guys, like I said, that trade so much, it might be a good thing that you have to wait a little bit to get the quote, because if you're able to do it instantly, we might be inundated beyond our capability of even warehousing some of the stuff.
And you guys actually were talking a while back, I think it was last month, where, if especially, for in again, talking to tournament anglers again, or, those who have if you have a lot of stuff that you're wanting to trade in, and you're actually planning on updating, say, electronics, fish finders, and the other marine products that American Legacy carries, make sure you reach out to them, because if you're planning on buying a bunch of stuff in bulk, in bundle, they'll make you a package deal, and you're not going to go anywhere else and save that kind of money, because when Graham and Brian and the crew talk about they're not going to be beat, they're not kidding. And I've actually dared people when they talked about this, and I talk about it in live stream. I was like, I flat out dare you, go put together what you want and go to them, and then try to do that with anybody else out there and see if you get the same deal. It will not happen. When we say they won't be beat, we're not playing. Yeah, Fisherman Cop was talking about he's got some stuff to trade in. So again, take what you want, go to the website, hit the trade in button. And I always
Just to
tell everybody,
further elaborate on what Brian's saying, if you have any questions about like how it works, once you actually like get a quote, we can send you a return label. If you're an elite member, it's free to receive however many shipping labels you need to return it. But for a general customer, it's $10 for a box for reels, and then $20 for a rod tube. We'll send you that label. If you want, you can go ahead and make your purchase up front, and then once we receive your trades, we'll just refund the trade credit to that order you just placed. Or if you send your stuff in before making a purchase, we'll just put your trade credit on a gift card, and you can use that towards a future purchase. then the third option, if you're an elite member, is you can get cash for a little bit of a reduction. So we've had quite a few people cash in on that.
Now, you did see a comment, where did it go? Jail Waltz, this is something, now Graham will tell you, I've had several requests since I've partnered with American Legacy, and we've talked quite a bit, about different brands that I like and stuff like that too. But I keep throwing the little nudge in the elbow, especially since they're sitting in like one of the kayak hot spots in the state. That hey, maybe someday American Legacy Fishing can get involved in the kayak game. And I'm more than willing to help get you guys started when that time comes.
I know it's like in our nature whenever we pick something up, whether that be a brand or a type of product, that we just like dive into it. And so it's weird to me and it's totally the wrong mindset, but like to not carry kayaks and then carry the accessories because we aren't very knowledgeable of them. And so
fair.
I know that most kayak companies, I would assume, like to control the shipment of, if they even ship kayaks, they would like to control that. So maybe something down the line. It's obviously a market that we're interested in tapping into, and a lot of the guys that you have sent us and some of our other guys are kayak fishermen. So it's not something we're neglecting. It's merely just like a logistics thing.
They're waiting for me to retire is what it is.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, we got Fishing Mitch in the chat. Said personal customer experience what sets American Legacy apart. You can always talk to somebody and they will always take care of you. And I have to agree with that 100%. When I was trying to decide what I wanted to play with going down to Kentucky Lake for the KBF National Championship, Graham had set some stuff set aside for me that he thought, might fit what I was trying to do. But I also work with Kayla. And for those of you who don't know Kayla, she's a young lady angler going to school, but she fishes and she grew up fishing and she is a hammer. She fishes with her dad and her boyfriend in various bass tournaments around, our area. And they have no problem a lot of times finishing in the money. And I mean, and the funny thing is, it's when you have somebody who really knows what they're talking about, and it makes a difference that when they can explain it to you, because I'm the first to tell you I fished with Dobbins for a while, and I never really got into the higher end stuff, but when she started explaining to me, it's just about okay, how like an NRX, their Loomis, their blanks are rolled. They've got a special rolling machine that puts in those tapering that gives them the action based on the technique you're fishing. Whereas a lot of other companies, they'll make some blend of graphite and glass, and to get that parabolic action, Loomis does it a different way. And then she's like, but what sets this apart, from even Shimano and Loomis, the quality of the guides that they use. It's those things that are a little more expensive and that make them a little more expensive is the quality of the various components. And I'm just like, they're guides. They can't be that big a deal. But she's like, let me tell you why. Their employees are just like that. They understand, they understand what, everybody kind of has their favorite stuff, and you get a passion about it too. So it's like when you see other reviewers that focus on certain brands, they kind of know everything about that brand because, if I'm going to talk to Dobbins to somebody, I'm probably going to go talk to Hellabass. It's one of those things where they get so involved in it, they really get it and understand it. But that's the great thing about, all the staff at American Legacy is that they are the same way. They really understand what they have and, can convey it to the angler in simple language that, and they'll tell you flat out, this might be a little bit over your head, start here and work your way to it. That way you understand the difference as you go. And you don't get that with everybody because a lot of times it's just upsell, upsell, upsell. They'll guide you in the right direction and let you, they'll look at your budget and put you in, a Shimano SLX line, the Dobbins Fury line. Graham will tell you probably sells a ton, and there's a reason for it. Everybody's got their own kind of budget and path in fishing, and they'll help you if you want to step up where whatever level you're at. They'll put you on the right path.
Yeah, Kayla is as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable than any of us in there. It's
She's awesome. I mean,
that's something you talk about, like a cool thing with the elite program, an idea coming into an actual thing is like watching some of the guys and girls, specifically in this, example, Kayla, grow on a day-to-day basis. And she was still in high school when she started working for us, and now she's like, able to run the entire shipping program and go out on the showroom and tell people, more knowledge than they would get in an entire year
oh,
trying
dude,
to
she
learn it
put that
themselves.
poison adrena in my hand, and I think it changed my life. I flat out told her, I said, I think I just felt the force. It's just, and I was like, I knew I had to get one, and just I was like, but I'm sitting here thinking, I'm holding this rod, and it's so light, and I'm like, feel like I'm holding a twig. I was like, this thing's gonna break. I mean, there's no way that this little bitty lightweight, no weight rod is gonna catch. Oh, and it did, and it caught me the
Can
fish that I needed to get into the.
I'm gonna hijack and try and like gas this stream up. I see some people like calling for likes in the chat. I don't know how many we're up to. It was like 60 at one point. If I should have brought this up to you before the stream, because I don't even know if you have the ability to pull a random name. But I saw this laying here. It's a Megabass 110 Junior in SPC. What's this color? It's the GP Tanagon. It's one that was like 6 or 7 months ago. I know Brian and some other people in here would recognize it. It flew off the shelves pretty much in 30 minutes, if I remember right. So if everybody can invite one person to the stream, if we can get over 100 people in the stream, I'm going to give this away to just a random person in here. So let's see if we can do that.
That's the one thing I've noticed about Restream. I love the fact that I can stream in 1080p and do other things, but they don't have a good giveaway tool in it yet, and I haven't done like a third party way to pull one in. So maybe we'll have to figure out.
I could just close I'll just close my eyes and point at the screen, or if after the stream ends, I could probably go back and just copy and paste the people that were commenting and viewing. But if you guys want a chance at it, maybe invite somebody into Gramps stream, tell them to like it, see if we can get over 100 people in here.
So Japan USA is wanting to know if I still have my Daiwa bottom contact rod. No, I actually, Graham sent me last year. I played with the bottom contact. So what he's talking about, folks, is the Daiwa Steez bottom contact. Well, we 2 is the correct nomenclature, along with a G Loomis NRX Plus 854C. I can't believe I remember this. And I was just trying to get a feel of. I was trying to get a feel of, what like the high end, but Graham will tell you that I sent him back because I couldn't handle the stress of having that. I honestly at the time I couldn't really handle the stress of having that high end rod on my boat or kayak because I was so afraid something would happen to him. And I honestly, at the time, I just couldn't deal with it. Now I've worked with Graham for a couple of years now. He kind of helped me over. He helped me over that fear of dealing with that kind of stuff. But I did some reviews on them, and once I got my hands on them, I understand why people live up there in those kind of rods and reels, and Graham and Brian and Brian have been, they've dealt with this kind of, higher end gear before. So they were kind of past that anxiety where I never. Now, Jeremy, my brother, he's fished with Loomis for 20 some years. And so he just, for him, they're tools. And that was bottom line. In my mind, I couldn't get, I would literally, I hate admitting this, but I would get ill going out fishing with them. And I literally had to send them back. I actually took them back to Graham.
Yeah.
And just like, take these, let me play with something else. So, I mean, it's one of those things I kind of got past that, but that was last summer. And that's why now I've played with some of the other stuff, but no, I don't have that one anymore. It's It's if somebody was there's two now that I know. There's two rods that in that category. If you're looking for you're dragging a football jig, a finesse jig, those lightweight bottom contact, highest end stuff, the bottom contact 2 and the NRX Plus Carolina rig rod, and it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. They are probably the two best rods in my opinion in that category. But no, I couldn't keep them. It was last year, and I just couldn't deal with the stress of it. Yeah,
I just
Sly
looked
Fox is
because
like,
I
yeah, that was
misread
about
the
this time last
question.
year.
I read it as, do you have them in stock? So if anybody's wondering, we do have 4 of them in stock, it looks like. It's a badass rod, like you said. It's pretty much like those and the NRX. And the Megabass P5, I was getting some love earlier. That's one that the few times I get to go fish, whenever I brought one out, I'm like always really excited to have it in my hand. That goes for pretty much any Megabass rod, though. They make a sweet rod.
Yeah, because
That's
I
going to
was
be your
talking to you
next brand.
earlier today, and I was like, I know that's probably something that I'm gonna have to start, playing with sometime because, I was never into the mega bass baits because, like, seriously, a spinner bait that's and then again, I got one, and then that's the one that I caught the fish that I needed to make the top 100. Yeah, I needed a miracle at the end of the day on Thursday, and for whatever reason, I picked up a spinnerbait and over the jackhammer. I picked the spinnerbait up, started picking apart docks, and with 5 minutes to go in the tournament, caught the fish that I needed. And I'm like, of course, it was on a mega bass. It's something I'd never throw, but I did and caught fish on it too. What did I get? Wait, I'm missing something from Debo. Sorry, bro. I wasn't paying the. I don't know who got kicked out for what, but nobody should be kicked out as far as I know, unless somebody's playing. But Jeremy's the only one who's a mod, so I don't know. But I'm glad you're still here, brother. That's for dang sure. Yeah, see, here, everybody. I know. Michael was hoping that he would see that BJR rod come back from me, but no, that's I'm not keeping all the licenses. Well, I keep telling myself that I haven't printed out the labels yet to ship anything back. This is gonna be a long, hard weekend. Oh my goodness. Yes,
There's
but I have.
that's something that I've had shelved for a long time. The heads up type aspect with any normal run product on the site, you can sign up to get notified if, say, like an IMX that rod new comes back in stock, you'll get an email, so you can try and get a jump on it. But there's no real way that we can do that with used gear. And we've tried some random things. I think with the elite guys earlier this year, we tried like a little wish list type scenario, but without it being automated, it's like way too much onus being put on us to try and like reference that every time we do a trade, because in peak times we might be processing 10 trades a day. So that becomes really hectic to try and look at each individual model and go back and reference a list for however many people. So yeah, that's something that I would love to see on the site, would be some sort of reminder.
It's funny that I saw, like, somebody was talking about, and I 100% agree with this. Well, first I got to go with Fish and Mitch talking about the poison adrena. That's another one that I was talking to Graham earlier about this. After I got back from Kentucky, one thing I noticed, I'm really a fan of the monocoque handles on the Shimano rods because of the vibration transfer into your arm, and that's something I never would have thought about, but it's really true. And at first, I told Graham, I said, I'm going to send all the limits back and go all Shimano because I like the monocoque handle so much. Because when we put our rods down, a lot of time in the built-in rod holders in a kayak, half the time they're full of water because the waves coming over and filling up the rod holder. And I like the fact that I could grab a rod out of that rod holder, even though it might be wet because it's been sitting in water while I was measuring a fish and throwing it back in. grabbing that monocoque handle, it's instantly dry. Now cork still does the same thing, but and I saw this question earlier, and I'm asked this because that it brings up a valid point. I was fearful of with the Loomis rods, if I set it soaking in water for too long while I'm weighing, over time, I'm like, okay, how much damage is this going to do to the cork? So a question came up earlier is it recommended, or do you guys recommend that people seal their cork rods using I always say UB40 or whatever, but I can't
U4.
remember the name of it.
When it's done well, I don't have any problem with it. We see a lot of I see more that are done like terribly than are done even like well. So I don't know if that's got to be user error. Maybe it's the product. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it, but I've never sealed a rod I've owned. I know it could be hard for somebody who's fishing a lot more than I ever did, but I just
Yeah.
kept my stuff clean every, maybe 6 trips or whatever. I would give it a little rub down with a soapy rag or a magic eraser.
Yep.
But for me, that's like a huge draw point of something like a poison adrenal. You don't have to clean it, and it's resilient. And it's,
Yeah,
like
because
you
I
said,
mean,
it
I was
adds
I
to the
was at the
overall
point for a long
sensitivity of
time
the
where I was
rod.
like, well, I want to really try like the X Pride B glass rod for a chatterbait rod, but I don't think I'm going to be able to peel that IMX Pro out of my hand. I've already decided that's going to be the one. And then Zach made a good point because he's talking about Dobbins is where he's found his sweet spot on price, and that's fair because I tell a lot of people that, the price is hard to beat. It's quality materials. Their warranty is outstanding. But that's, again, a benefit of shopping with American Legacy Fishing is they are, they take care of you. If your rod gets broken, I mean, there's not a lot of people that take care of a customer if something happens in shipping that they still take care of them all the way through. Then it's dealing with the warranty of wherever. But there's hardly anybody out here. But that's the great thing about American Legacy Fishing because you can I'm going to end up with a mix over time of, I know, Dobbins, Loomis, some Shimano. I'll probably play with a Megabass rod at some point in time because too many people talk about, how good they are. So I'll probably find some technique or some reason to go play with one because I'm trying to be more experienced, and not just not just limit myself to something because, I do like to talk about gear quite a bit, even though my main goal is going fishing. If I can help somebody else, find what they're looking for, their style, then I'm glad to be able to do it, or at least get them in touch with, the guys at American Legacy to be able to do that.
I saw a
Oh, I'm
question
still
from
catching up on the
Mike.
chat.
That'd be a good segue into something else we were pretty proud to introduce this year, which was our tungsten weights. Um, we sold through them a lot quicker than we thought we would, even though we knew they were going to sell quick. But we basically just
Dude,
took
your
the
price
classic.
was insane.
We
I
took the
mean,
classic loss leader model of we bought this tungsten from a source that we got samples from, and we're like blown away at the quality. We went and fished with them, and we were like, yeah, let's order as many as we can. And the whole thought process was to sell them for the exact same price that we bought them for. So it's quite literally the cheapest tungsten on the internet, especially the cheapest tungsten on the internet from a website that you can read. The sites that you'll
yeah.
find any comparable prices probably end up with a Tackle Warehouse Black Friday 2021 scenario. It'll it yeah, we're happy to bring those, and we actually did just get some in to answer your question. It got in early last week. We're literally just waiting on the little like plastic like drug
The
baggies
baggies.
that we put them in. It should be coming in soon
Yep.
though. They're caught up. They were caught up in the storm this past week, so I don't know where they're at, but
Yep, I
they're coming.
understand that. So again, if you guys are looking for tungsten, I mean, again, they're not going to be beat, and it's really cool because I never thought I was going to be that much of a tungsten guy, and then when I feel a Texas rig or a jig that's made of tungsten, because we were talking about Beast Coast fishing earlier, and those tungsten jigs. It's funny when you're using a high quality rod and you're dragging those baits along the bottom. It's like you can see in your mind's eye what's going on under the water because so much that, I mean, but that's the world we're living in now when you got sensitive rods, top quality line, the tungsten, which is banging those vibrations up the rod line to you. You can almost feel like you see every rock under the water and what that bait is doing. And it's just nuts how spoiled we are with such high quality, high end gear, and it just keeps getting better every year. Trying to go through and look and keep up with the, but
Yeah,
yeah,
there's quite a bit.
to
Yeah.
Mike's question, yeah, I actually posted a reel when when Graham posted that they'd gotten it in, but they're just waiting for the little shipping baggies. They're not, they're not gonna take it, buy the stuff in the package. They buy it in bulk and then they part it out and then ship it to you from there. But they've got a little,
They
and you
should
guys
be good
actually
to
added a
sell
new weight.
next week. Yeah,
Okay.
what did we just add? 3/16 maybe is the little dude.
I love I fish with the smallest ones I can get my hands on. I will buy a ton of those.
Yeah, we got a bunch.
Excellent. See what Jeremy's saying. You imagined how many discussions I had with JT explaining that these are tools and it's okay to invest in himself. He's hard headed. Yeah, Graham knows. How many texts and emails back and forth? I want this one. I don't want this one. Another call to Jeremy. Just get the dang rod. You've earned it. Fish with it. And then Graham will
It's
tell
good
me
that
the
you're
same thing.
dealing with a
Okay.
procrastinator because there are times
I,
where like I've literally just dropped the ball and forgot to like place an order for you, and then like you text me back and you've changed your mind. I'm like, I'm just doing my job.
didn't miss anything because he changed his mind again.
Yeah.
Oh, that being said, did my Secret Santa present go out yet?
It did not.
Yeah, yeah.
I asked you yesterday if you wanted me to still send out the Carolina rig rod and the bladed jig rod, and you said but something along the lines of like I thought it had already gone out, and I should have taken that as you wanted it to go out.
Yeah, I was going to say
Sorry.
go ahead and let me, I'll own those, and then the Shimano thing, I need to get that out to the
Okay,
guy because
it's done.
everybody else has got their stuff.
Sorry, making you look bad.
No, I mean it's just it was my mistake. Flipping back down through the comments, just keeping up, and I know Mitch has said he's been playing with some of the new Falcon rods in because that's something you guys just was it? No, you guys
No, we
have
just
carried
picked up
Falcon. Was it
Arc.
Arc that you
We've
guys
had
added
Falcon
recently?
since before I started there. We just added
That's
Arc
what I thought.
last
Was
month.
it? Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Arc. Okay, yeah. So tell us about any brands you might have coming in this year that I might really be really super happy about.
Yeah, I wonder what it could be. We
Do tell.
uh we reached out to Sixth Sense literally like the day of, or it might have been the day after. We ran a poll on the Facebook group, just basically gauging what brands you guys were most excited about, and Sixth Sense was just like here, and everything else was just like kind of hanging out somewhere in here. It was definitely the one everybody was asking about, and one you've asked me about in those many texts and emails you referenced earlier. We're stoked on it though. They make some killer swim baits, especially that some of the guys at the shop are really getting into.
Yep.
They have great paint
Yeah, I
jobs, which I
love. I mean, there's
appreciate.
so many parts. I've never been a big crankbait guy, but I kind of got started in on it because Matt Kiefer, who lives down by the shop, is one of our state champions. He has a lot of success in a lot of those 6 cents crankbaits. So you learn from what other people do, and especially when they have successes, it's no point in reinventing the wheel if you find something that works. And then I actually started having success with a lot of them as well, but a lot of their soft plastics. I mean, the puddle minnow, it's the juggle minnow is what my favorite jackhammer trailer. The 6 cents flush is another one. Well, the puddle the I keep saying puddle minnow. The juggle minnow makes a great mini max chatterbait trailer, and the 6 cents flush, which is their soft jerk bait, is an awesome jackhammer trailer, and their colors match up perfectly with a lot of stuff that Z-Man makes in the jackhammers. I mean, and it's just a beautiful match. But they've got a lot of different baits. They got a lot of swim baits that a lot of people like. Their trace and several others. But I think you guys will find that whatever you get in, you'll probably sell out pretty quick. So
Yeah,
I think
no,
having
we're
Six Sense at American Legacy is going to be incredible.
like I said earlier, when we pick something up, we like dive headfirst into it. So we'll be picking up everything from the movement to the unicorn rods that they carry. Like we're literally gonna have everything they make. So
Oh
we're
wow! So you're going to carry the
we're
rod line as
stoked.
well?
Yeah, they were like I said earlier off stream that they were like super excited when we reached out. It was funny because like the initial one was like, "Can you send over your dealer package?" And then the next one was just like, "Brah!" Just like bouncing back and forth about like we're excited to get it in, we're excited to be here, blah blah blah. And then they were just like beating it into submission, like carry our rods, maybe like you want to carry our rods, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna carry your rods.
You'll find some fans. I got a couple of rods to test out and play with, and I really enjoyed it. Sold it to one of the fishing fan members here because again I was playing around with a lot of different stuff. But their lineup from top to bottom is pretty legit. I'm really happy with that. Mike's asking if he can order now. No, you got to wait for they get this tungsten listed on the site first. They got to get their baggies.
Quantities are in. That it sold out quick, but I mean it took like over a month. So I mean there are a lot of weights. We ordered even more this time than last time. So
Okay.
I don't think that you'll miss out if you're paying any amount of attention. Because trust me, I'll make sure to let you know.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get it. I mean, and it's fun too because I love seeing that, the shipping is picked back up pre pandemic kind of stuff. We're kind of getting back to somewhat of a normal life. And you guys are able to get a lot of stuff in product. I know it's slow and now we have storms and everything else to deal with, but it's awesome that you guys are able to carry so much and honestly pull your customers and pick up and get what they love to fish with, and then just keep it in stock and keep it flying out the door.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's like a novel concept, right? Like to sell what people want to buy to people who want to buy it. It's like
Yeah.
it's something that every company does, but I think that most companies overcomplicate. Um, we have the luxury in our industry of just being able to go straight to the source. So that's what we try and do whenever we can do it.
Yep. Mitch said he's not the only one he's not the only one that annoys Graham with emails and texts. Oh, trust me, bro. me,
If I was
me and Graham
actually
are back and
annoyed,
forth
I
all
would
the
have
time. I don't
just
know how he gets any work done.
yeah. If I was
And
actually
yes,
annoyed, I
Devo,
would
I'm
have just
like you. I
blocked you.
can't keep up with the chat either when I've got a guest on. Oh man. No, nobody got a frogfish. The weather was cold. I caught one fish and I was happy to catch that fish on a Ned rig. But I will be back down in Florida in warmer days, even though it's like what 70s or 80s there now. But I'm happy that I went to Florida and caught a fish on the Christmas weekend. But more importantly, I got to meet a couple of people that hang out here with us in the chat, and then I got to go down. That bass was not 6 inches, bro. It was probably at least 12, 13, maybe 14. If not, I can exaggerate. It's all about how you hold the picture. Yep, like Sly Fox said, I got a Debo dink down in the 30-degree Florida weather. Leave it to me to take the cold weather down to Florida. But you know what? It wasn't -6, and I was happy to be down there and not up here. That is for sure. I saw somebody else had a question. Oh, Mike was asking any restocks on Cigar line coming in. Uh-oh, I lost Graham for a second. He was having some internet connections earlier today. Or earlier as we was coming on. So hopefully we get him back. But I'll go through and take this moment to go through and catch up on. Oh, here he is. And we're
Sorry,
back.
I like dropped my entire internet. Just dropped, but we're good.
Yeah. I was telling you having a little bit of issues earlier, so ain't no big deal. But I'm glad you're back. I don't want to keep you too long because hey, it's a weeknight, and I don't want to I don't want to keep you too busy. So tell us what else is coming up or going on in American Legacy in 2023.
I mean, that's gonna be the biggest thing for us is reaching out to companies like Six Sense, just to really bolster our bait inventory because we like to think of ourselves as the rod guys. Like that's what we
Yeah.
specialize in. And this year I don't even know what the percentage X we increased our inventory, but we have, and just even from the first time you walked in the store, I'm sure it's crazy how much we've been able to get in.
Oh
So
yeah.
much so that we're like running out of room in the showroom.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to start being selective with what we put out there. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think I'm gonna try and focus on pushing the showroom business a little bit more. I think that's something that I personally, uh, not necessarily to a fault of my own, just don't have the time to dedicate to pushing showroom business because so much of our business is online.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try and find a healthier balance there. Um, the Along with the increased inventory, we're always looking to find ways to improve like our individual processes to manage that inventory. So internally, that's going to be a massive focus for us because, like you said, shipping services oftentimes do make mistakes, but so do we, and we try and wear that on our sleeves. We're all people. If you call in, you'll know that. Um, we make mistakes, and the for us, one of the biggest identifiers or biggest things we have identified is our, kind of management and juggling of all of that inventory. So looking for
Yeah.
ways to make that as good as possible, like we have done throughout the years, just further refining that is going to be necessary if we want to expand our inventory to what we plan on doing. We've got all kinds of brands we have identified already. Six Sense just being the biggest one that we've reached out to already.
Now, my buddy Mike is wanting to know what your holiday hours are this coming weekend. He said he might want to take a ride.
We are going to be closed. There will likely be someone in until about noon on New Year's Day. I don't know that we have actually like hammered it out. We'll definitely be closed on New Year's Day, but usually on the days before and after a holiday, we'll have somebody just come in the mornings, and depending on how slow it is, we'll just pull them. Um, New Year's is always a different like one to approach because New Year's Eve is like the one holiday that everybody celebrates. Nobody's like out getting crazy on New Year's Day. So
Yep.
in the past, we've been closed on both. So I would treat it as if we're going to be closed on both days. But
So
if you,
give the shop a call just in case. Don't make a 3 hour drive south if without making a phone call just to make sure. Now, my brother had a question before the show, and he may have asked in here too, but he was curious if you were just going to grab a rod and reel, because of course I had to post your picture of a big old smallmouth. Had to get the stash
mhm.
in the picture, and this time we went with a big smallie instead of a big largemouth. But if you're going to grab one rod and reel, your favorite technique, kind of tell us what you're. I've only got a few hours time to myself. What am I going to grab, and what am I going to go fish for?
Yeah, it's such a tough question. So I'll pick the time of year I'm going to be fishing since it's my question, I guess, or my answer. I would definitely be. It's tough because I love to. It's going to be frog. I love to throw a frog in the spring, like a little bit earlier than you think you would. But I also love it to throw it in the fall. So either or, I'm going to be using the same setup. Which the last one that I used with any consistency has been my favorite of all the rods I've fished, which is the 7.2 heavy X Pride here in the Midwest where we do most of our frogging. It's in like kind of sparse cover, so you don't need the overkill with the 7.3 extra heavy. Um, the The bantam for a frog is probably my favorite. I haven't fished a frog with a Metanium B. I'm sure I'd feel the same way. The biggest thing with those reels is that it's one solid body. So whenever you set the hook with a frog, there's literally like no flex in the reel. Um, so it'd be a bantam or a Metanium with that X Pride, or even the Adrena 7.2 heavy. It's almost an identical model, actually a little
Yep.
slower. So depending if it's even sparser cover than what I'm talking about, that 7.2 heavy Adrena would be overkill for a frog, but in terms of like the quality of the rod. But if you're giving me the choice, it would be that
Yep.
setup with 50-pound Sunline SX1 and a
So
Spro
just to show you guys,
bronze eye
he's not
popping frog.
kidding. So I show you guys know that he's not kidding when I said, "Hey, these are the various techniques," and one of the techniques, obviously, that I was talking about was a heavy punching rod, a frog rod, a heavier jig rod if I'm going to be, throwing like an ounce or a meter. And here's what he's talking about. This is the 7.2 heavy X Pride B, because I haven't played with anything in the X Pride B line yet, and he knew that that was something that I needed to put in my hands. And we've all talked about. So if you want to hear see what Gramps has invested in for 2023 to catch this damn frogfish. Now, and I told Graham before too that I have an issue, and I've tested both the Metanium and the Bantam. And for my little sausage thumbs, it just didn't work out well. But I've got a Corrado 70, I think it is, on there as my like other version of that. So that's gonna be the one that this frogfish gets caught on. And it's funny how you talked about saying that you threw it earlier than most. Jeremy actually caught frogfish the first trip we went out in April, and it was early April, and he actually brought a damn frog with him. I was tearing him up with a chatterbait big blade, but he was catching frogfish that day. I mean, there wasn't a leaf, there was nothing green in the woods, nowhere. And but yeah, he
There
was throwing a
are
frog. So just like he knew what was, he wanted to catch a frogfish that day. And I don't know why we didn't think to hand me a frog, and tie it on, but I damn sure didn't bring any.
I love
But
the
so
1-2
that's the X Pride
combo.
B is what that frog is going to get caught on. Coming up,
I
coming up
love
in the springtime. So that will be
the
the
one
goal.
two the 1-2 combo between a frog and some sort of stick bait or a fluke. I love a caffeine shad by Strike King.
Yep.
It in early spring, like even before when fish are shallow, but they're not shallow to spawn quite yet. They're up there feeding, uh, and that's totally dependent on body of water. There are a lot of bodies in water in Indiana where they just come up for the spawn and kind of move back out. But
Yep.
some of the smaller lakes around here that I like to fish, they will push bait fish like up underneath and around overhanging bushes and undercut banks, or on shallow flats with like just nasty like matted type stuff. And having that frog with the caffeine shad like unholstered, ready to go on the other side of my foot is it's just fun. I mean, even if you miss them with a frog, you get to see that explosion. You just like pitch the caffeine shad or fluke or senko out there, and it's
Yep.
like just a waiting game because it's such a high percentage cast. You like get back in there and you're just like hit them.
Have it
It's
on
fun.
standby. Yeah, I had so
Which
many close calls, near hits, near misses, whatever you want. It's just one of those things. But let's see. Dan was asking, do I have the 7.2 heavy or the 7.3 heavy X Pride? I have the 7.2 heavy. That's going to be my do everything frog punch heavy jig. That's going to be
yeah,
the
it's a
workhorse
very
for that.
versatile rod. With the X Pride especially, it's a little faster. So throwing something like a jig or a heavy Texas rig, that's like
Yep.
it's like plenty.
And I'll be doing a video on it, because obviously when Gramps does catch this damn frogfish, um, it's going to be a combination of things, and we'll talk about it. Of the experiences I've had playing this silly game for going on year 3 now. Well, I guess it was a whole. No, I guess it was all of last season, but it's been a funny game that we've been. No, it's been 2 seasons now. So yeah, going into the third season of chasing this stupid frogfish. But I mean, it's just one of those things. I've said probably a dozen times that knowing me, knowing my luck, it's going to be one of those. I'm either going to catch a dink on it or I'm going to catch a PB on it. You just never know. But it's not for the lack of trying. I probably own every frog there is, and I've gotten advice from so many different people. But it's been a fun part of. It's been a fun piece of drama here on the channel, just chasing this thing out. I got to say, I saw some new faces pop in real fast. I saw South Jersey, Matthew Acevedo in the house. I saw Punch Fishing in there. Again, if you guys are into higher end rod and reel reviews, make sure you check out Punch. He is big into the Daiwa Steez, the NRX, the Mega Bass lines. He's a guy who works hard for a living and enjoys the fruits of his labor and fishes with quality gear. So if you're looking for somebody that obviously way more than me that knows about the higher end stuff, he is a great source on YouTube for it. If you're in the American Legacy Fishing Facebook groups, all of the crew in there, Brian and several of them are very versatile and knowledgeable about a lot of lines. And that's the cool thing too about the community in the Facebook group. In the couple of Facebook groups at American Legacy is you have a lot of guys. They'll be fans maybe of a specific brand, and they kind of know everything about it. And everybody will offer information and answer questions based on their personal experience. And it makes it awesome because you get unbiased opinions. And obviously, you can call them fanboys if you want of their thing, but there's a reason why they're fans of that particular brand. I'm not up to Hellabass's level yet when it comes to Dobbins, but I'm probably close. I can name, quite a bit of the models, and I've fished with a good many of them. But again, I'm not at the Bryce from Dobbins or Hellabass level of knowledge in there, but I try to. JP Harrell is another one in the he's always answering questions that people have, and that's awesome too. So the good thing about it is the community itself is full of people really in the know. And so you'll get a lot of answers and, to questions that you might have. Saw Jig Squad in the house. Talk about somebody, you want to get into bait making, watch Jig Squad and learn from. I'm so far behind on Do It Mold stuff, but I'm going to be making some jigs and some other good stuff this year too. I don't think I compete with Beast Coast Fishing Tungsten, but hey, I'm still going to make some and catch more fish on it because I actually caught several fish on jigs that I made this year. And it seems like I never got to talk about it. It's like I was so focused on going to the national championship that I kind of forgot to talk about everything else. But I mean, hey, that's something on the bucket list. That's something on the bucket list that I can cross off now and more focus on the more adventure side of fishing, which is what a lot of us really like to do. I know Graham's big into just fishing to enjoy fishing and everything about it. And what did Debo say about sponsoring frogs? I don't know. Rick from Monster Bass told me he'd fly me somewhere to catch a frogfish. Chad Hoover's going to have me come down and catch a frogfish. Everybody's focused on helping me. Everybody's so interested in helping me catch a frogfish. But that's what I love about the community because everybody is willing to share, help out, trade their knowledge with each other, and help everybody kind of, increase your chances of catching fish. Because at the end of the day, it's just an awesome way to spend your time and make memories. Liz, thanks for stopping in, sweetheart. We're glad you got to pop in and say, hey, I'm hoping you're warmer than you were when I was down there with you a couple of days ago. See, now Debo's calling me out, and I got to scroll back up and see what he was saying. But again, Graham, I want to be respectful of your time because, hey, man, I know you already worked a full day today. And
no, I took off early for
anything
this.
else American Legacy's got going on that you want to kind of fill us in on? And I'll just get back to chatting with these yahoos.
Yeah, I saw Brown Bait Co. I don't see like an actual name there. Mentioning
Brendan, yeah.
small batch big baits. That is another thing that I mentioned that some of our staff is getting into glide baits specifically, and I'm not fishing with them, but it's something that is like a straight up anomaly to me. It's like the culture that has surrounded, like, it takes a special type of person to throw a big bait, I guess is what I'm getting
Yeah.
at. And the culture those guys have fostered into what it is now is something we want to get skin in the game of. We want to pick up baits like that. We've already reached out to a few small batch makers, some bigger than others, KGB, trying to
Yeah.
see if they would be interested, even if we have to book it like a year or 2 years in advance, just a small batch of baits that we can take over the selling for them, like becoming like the literal middleman, and like in some cases just taking like the shipping cost off the top, like literally just
Yeah.
being the hub for them. And with that, I would really like to offer trading and facilitate trading of those baits. That would be a lot easier than some of the smaller like Japanese baits that I've it's been kicked around in the past, trading baits, but it's like, you got rust, you got cracks here and there, but it's a lot easier to police the quality of a bait that's 9 inches long, I guess is what I'm getting at. So we are
Yeah.
definitely, that's all in traditional me fashion. That's a really long-winded way of saying that yes, we're excited to get into that game in some capacity.
So Brandon's a really interesting young man. I've known him a couple years now. He's been a follower of the channel. So I got to know him when he was 16 and he just turned 18. But for someone as young as he pours and makes his own. Brendan, you're gonna have to help me out here, but he hand carves glide baits, and I always get him back up. He hand pours his own swim baits, like the big. So he's all about, he lives down in Georgia, and he's all about fishing those big, But he is a fan of and a part of that swim bait type community. But for somebody who's so young and already so skilled in crafting and making his own baits, it's really cool because he's actually got some stuff on on the Monster Bass site. Rick is actually, helping him sell some stuff too. But you talk about somebody who at such a young age has absorbed so much and is basically building a brand and a business at his young age. I need to get you guys together so maybe that you can see some of his product. And it's just incredible how much he really absorbs a lot of this stuff and is not sitting around waiting to go work for somebody else to learn how to do these things. He's actually hand carving and pouring and doing it on his own. And I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's got a YouTube channel as well, but he also has a small business that he's working on, getting there and improving and learning. And it's just amazing. I'm looking at him, and it's like, dude, you were 16 when I met you the first time, and you're already doing this. You're already showing more gumption and American spirit than a lot of people who are just sitting around waiting for some check to come in. He's making things happen on his own at such a young age. It's really incredible.
I love that. There are so many special things about our sport and our industry, but the ability to just like not be intimidated to approach somebody who has the ability to share their knowledge with you. Like
Yep.
I I've never gotten into bait making, but I was like very into painting baits for a little bit. The other
Yep.
Brian at work used to have his own actually small business of painting baits, and he kind of got out of it, and he just had all his gear and was like, "Here, you want it?" And so I drove over to his house one night and got it, and kind of fell in love with that side of it, and being able to uh, Jen from Jekyll Baits. I'm not sure if you're familiar. She does hand painting. She had
Yes.
she was like the only YouTube channel I could find at that time that was like covering painting baits
And
to
she was
the
doing a lot of the
level.
custom work for the bull shad, wasn't she?
Yeah, yeah, still is actually,
Yep.
but like to the level that it was so in depth and like from start to finish, and like I reached out to her on multiple occasions, and like the fact that I'm a pretty shy person, like didn't feel intimidated to do that is just something that's cool about our industry. And I'm sure that Brendan's doing the same thing with some of the guys in his area. But yeah, that's badass. I'm excited to talk to you.
It's really cool. Yeah, Brendan says he has one of her pieces too. And I
Nice.
know I think Jeremy and my brother and I both bought some of the when they were doing the custom Boca stuff, and I actually probably gave a couple of those away. While I'm thinking about it, but yeah, it's pretty amazing in the industry what all a lot of times we say people some things catch fishermen versus fish, but when you have that magical marriage of both, and then you get a piece of art, and it's like my brother was telling me not long a few months ago when we were talking about like big glide baits that people are throwing. It's like there's some dude who bought like $1,000 glide bait and cut it open, and everybody was like, "Oh, let's go look." And I'm like, "He did what?" And then I
Yeah.
had to back up. $1,000? What am I missing? I'd be that guy that went, bzzz, oh, there it goes.
Yeah, out into the woods.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know it's starting to wind down a little bit. My sinuses are already starting to kick in. I was
Yeah.
actually surprised I was able to go longer than an hour. But I mean, any parting things coming up in 2023 you want to talk about, or is it we got more stuff coming and everybody check the website, get into the American Legacy Elite program, guys. It's worth every penny because you're really going to just get the money right back and then have all the goodies and the benefits all year long, so that the more you shop, the more you get back throughout the year. So
Yeah, I mean, if you buy fishing gear and you're not a part of the elite program, you're just missing out on savings, which I understand, I guess, if you want to do that, but it seems goofy, especially as the economy gets weirder and weirder every day. So,
yeah.
but I'd check that
Yeah, I
out.
mean,
That's the
you
biggest
already
thing.
get the best prices out there, and the fact that you can get those prices and your money back, and you get a 10% discount using Gramps 10 at checkout, because we always got to throw that out there so they know that I'm still bringing people to the stove. You
Yeah,
know,
but yeah,
so I don't know
that's the
how we're
biggest
gonna.
thing
I
I
don't
would
know
say.
how we're gonna do a giveaway. I don't know if I need
Well, I don't know
to
that
have everybody.
did we ever touch 100, or are we just feeling generous? I don't mind to just give this away if you can find a way to do that.
I don't even know how we did. I'll tell you what. I will. I will do this. We're gonna go ahead and. I don't even know where we're at. Let me see where we're at as far as likes go. Somebody can tell me in the chat. I know we've had up to 173 views so far, and that's amazing that we have that many pop in. We had 57 likes, which hey, we'll take that.
Yeah,
Because I got a lot of people on the replay squad because a lot of times I would stream on a Friday or a Saturday.
let's hold it then. Let's if you're getting them rewatches, let's say like early next week, we can just make a joint post and just basically say that if you're watching this now and you've made it this far, um, keep an eye out for a post on the American Legacy Facebook page and Instagram. And if you want to give it a like and leave a comment if you want, I will pick from those names and we'll give it away at the end of next week. Sound good? So that would
That sounds like a
be
plan. So, guys, keep an eye out for the American Legacy Fishing Facebook and Instagram because you
yep.
were here tonight. You're going to know what's up when the time comes.
I'll
What are
make
we
a
going to make them
post.
do? Put a hashtag white cat?
Yeah. You can put whatever you want. If
Nobody
you
else
want to
will
use
get
your
what it
hashtag
means.
Freedom Squad. Um,
Hashtag free. Oh, we didn't even talk about that, but I approached Graham earlier this year before we went to Kentucky, and I told him what we were going to be doing. Jeremy, Matt, and I working doing more veteran outreach and building up that side of the fishing fam. And Graham is going to bring Matt and Jeremy both under the Fishing with Gramps umbrella so that they can start, getting some of the benefits of being partnered with American Legacy Fishing. So they're going to be two more voices as part of our channel. And we're going to be doing more and we're going to explore more of not just the fishing gear that American Legacy has, because the other part of American Legacy Fishing and Outdoors is the fact that they have gear for outdoors use. So we're going to talk about a lot of the other things that they have in the store. We're going to do some camping this year. We're going to do, a lot more more outdoorsy stuff too, and not just fish. But, we'll be getting more to that down here in the future too. So Freedom Squad is going to be working a lot with American Legacy Fishing this year, obviously promoting American Legacy Fishing in the outdoor side of it and having a lot more fun as we're going through doing our veteran outreach, our camping kind of side of it. Another reason why I'm working on losing some weight. For those who are curious, I gained 1 pound since last Wednesday. So, my goal was to get through the Christmas week and not suffer too much because I wasn't going to not go to Tampa and have seafood. So I enjoyed myself, but I only gained back 1 pound. We're back hammering at it now. And you all know that the big, we're going to be going through the whole weight loss challenge with Chad on their website. There's going to be a lot of prizes for fishing gear from a lot of different sponsors. Graham has actually even thrown in some stuff for what we've got going on in that category as well. But once the website's up and we start the actual kind of weight loss, I'm not going to call it weight loss, but we're working on mental health. We're working on physical health. We're working on improving, our lives so that we can get out and do more too. But yes, the king crab legs, snow crab legs, really good. I need to get the blue crab. I don't remember. We had seafood. It was in a boil bag. It was delicious. I'm not going to, Salmon Searcher wants to know, is Graham a Monday through Friday guy? I don't think Graham's ever off, but
yeah, I'm in there from open to about 4:30 on weekdays. If I'm in there on the weekend, you'll probably not see me out in the showroom because I'm in the back tinkering with something. But if you are ever in town and you want to just reach out, I'm usually looking at the Facebook messages and Instagram messages on the weekend. And if you wanted to set something up, I mean, I literally live like 6 minutes from the store, so it wouldn't be anything to just drive over there and meet you.
and Bobby, you can do like you did last time. Just let me know and I'll text him for you.
Yeah. I'll
I got the
guarantee to
ends.
see it then. Yeah.
All right, Graham, again, thank you for everything that you do for the
Thanks for
Fishing
having me.
Fam family. And it's certainly appreciated. And, we love the fact that we can work together because for me, it's just such an awesome adventure to be. I get to play with all kinds of stuff and enjoy the fruits of the business that you guys built. And I love talking about it because I love talking about fishing stuff. But again, thanks for everything you guys do. And I'll let you have your night. And I'll let these guys get out of here because my butt's got to go to work again tomorrow.
Yeah, same. Thanks, guys.
All right, dude. Appreciate it. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for stopping by. Next week, I have a special guest. You think you can't beat having Graham on. Next week, Gene, the Fluke Master Jensen, is going to join us right here, 7 o'clock Eastern. Don't miss this one. It's going to be a fun one. And I've got some folks lined up down the road. It's going to be a fun sprint. I'm going to be filling up some live streams with some good stuff. So again, Fluke Master next week. And then I'll talk about who we got coming up after that. We got Tom from Lou's, got Christine Fisher, got Casey Reed. I got a special Lynn Yester, which you guys may not have met, but you will because she's a very special lady. We're going to have some fun over the next few live streams. Take care. God bless. I can't wait till we get to start fishing again. But until then, I'm going to try to keep you guys somewhat entertained for our live streams. And until next time, especially you folks down south, now that I left and the water's warming up, get outside when you can and make some memories. One cast at a time.